When people talk about moving to Asia, the conversation usually goes something like this. Bangkok's amazing, Bali is paradise, and Da Nang is so fast growing. And yeah, those places have their appeal if you want tourist hubs or constant nightlife. Most of the popular places are just kind of exhausting. Crowds, high rents, and constant competition for the best cafes or the newest apartments. It can quickly turn your Asian dream into burnout. What I'm talking about today are the cities that nobody really talks about. Quiet, cheap, livable places where you can actually exist like a local. Focus on work or hobbies and not get trapped in the tourist mode life. Let me be honest for a second. Bangkok and Da Nang probably have all the conveniences that you want. Big supermarkets, Western amenities, but these all come with hidden costs. Rents are rising, co-working spaces are overcrowded, and traffic can take away half of your morning. In Bali, well, the cost of renting one of those villas you see on Instagram will easily triple your entire budget. Even Chiang Mai, which used to be this quiet little hideaway, is completely crowded with digital nomads. Coffee shops are full, the city has lost some of its old charm, and every other person is posting about cheap life in Thailand online. If your goal is an affordable life where you're living mostly like a local, these places often over-deliver on the hype and under-deliver on peace. That's why looking under the radar works, and that's what I want to show you today with 3 cities that tick those boxes. Da Lat is in Vietnam's central highlands. It's about a 6-hour drive from Ho Chi Minh City. If you like cooler weather, pine forests, and winding roads, it feels almost like a European mountain town, but without the crazy price tag. Here's the reality. A good 1-bedroom apartment is going to cost you a couple $100 a month, maybe less if you know where to look. Street food costs a couple bucks a meal, and there's a growing Western expat cafe scene if you need a Western style coffee every now and then. Life here moves slowly. People come for hiking, cycling, coffee, or the farms, not for clubs and bars. There's a small expat community, but it's manageable. You won't feel like a novelty, and locals are genuinely friendly when you engage. Quick note, this city has almost an obsessive love for flowers. You'll find colorful gardens, flower markets, and almost year-round festivals. This place is peaceful, but it's definitely not boring. Da Lat is the perfect place to escape the heat, the crowds, and the constant chaos of Vietnam's bigger cities. Next is Hue, Vietnam. It's the former imperial capital sitting on the Perfume River. For some context, this city is layered with history. There's royal tombs, there's pagodas, there's citadels, and a centuries-old street food culture that the locals swear by. Hue is not a flashy place, and that's exactly what makes it attractive to me. You can rent a 1-bedroom apartment for a couple $100 a month. Street food is the same as Da Lat, it's a couple bucks. Markets are small, the streets are quiet, and life moves at almost a meditative pace compared to the larger cities. The biggest appeal here isn't just the cost, it's the authenticity. You're not going to be surrounded by tourists and digital nomads in Hue. You're living somewhere that still functions for locals. And the cultural layer is everywhere. Morning walks by the river, coffee shops tucked into old French colonial buildings, street vendors who've been selling the same exact recipe for decades now. Hue feels like a city that you could actually grow roots in. A fun note on this one, traffic is minimal compared to other cities. Scooters are everywhere, but it's calm enough that crossing the street isn't a game of survival. For some people, this is a subtle quality of life difference that they don't even notice until they leave the big cities. Finally, Vientiane. Laos's capital is not flashy or glamorous, just like the other ones on this list. The city sits on the Mekong River, life moves slowly, and the expat scene is quiet. Rent is affordable at about the same price for a comfortable place near the center. Street food is abundant, local beers are $1 or $2, and living costs overall are pretty low. The real benefit is not the price, it's the lifestyle. Cafes line the riverfront. You can bike almost anywhere in the city, and visa options are surprisingly flexible for long-term stays. The quirks, there's almost nothing modern, like skyscrapers or flashy malls. but there are enough cafes, small supermarkets, and amenities that life still feels comfortable. You won't feel like you're missing out because the city's charm is built on calm and simplicity, not spectacle. It's also one of the few capitals in Asia that still feels like you have the place to yourself. Walk along the river in the evening, grab a Lao coffee or some sticky rice from a vendor, and you're living a life most people think is only possible in remote villages. But you have the infrastructure of an entire city. So here's the pattern. Each city offers something different, but they all share the same underlying principle. Quiet, affordable, and livable. Dalat, it gives you mountains and a creative escape. Hue gives you culture, history, and authenticity. Vientiane gives you the relaxed riverside pace of a small capital. None of them are hotspots in the sense of overrun tourist hubs, which means you get space to build your life instead of constantly participating in the hype cycle. And yes, moving somewhere under the radar comes with its own set of trade-offs. There's fewer international flights out of the country. There's slower internet in some spots. And there's smaller expat communities. But for someone who values peace, routine, and affordability over all other things, these trade-offs feel tiny. If you're considering a move abroad, I highly recommend this certain kind of city. They allow you to focus on living instead of just surviving. You can build a routine, work without constant distractions, and experience local culture in a way that's impossible in a tourism-heavy area. If you haven't heard, I've got a newsletter where I dive into more of these under-the-radar spots. Real rent prices, monthly budgets, and practical tips for making the move abroad not have the usual headaches. You can sign up for that at the link below, and I'll send you updates when I find another city that hits this quiet expat life formula. Because at the end of the day, moving abroad isn't just so you can get nice photos or experience something like you've seen on Instagram. It's about living in a place that actually feels like home, quietly and affordably every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.